Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, bringing you the day 4 recap of CES. Guys, we are done with CES. Yay! I can sleep. Yeah guys, but again, not as much on day 4. Some stuff is actually outside of CES, which was kind of interesting. So let's go on the first one. Huawei announced an Android gaming console. Now, before you get your hopes up, this is for China only at this point, and it's going to be in Q2. But what is it? It's called Tron, funny enough. I wonder if they're going to have to pay to get that. I don't think so because it's a computer term, but whatever. It's going to come in 16 gig and 32 gig storage capabilities, along with up to 64 gig micro SD card expandability. You're going to have Ethernet, USB 3.0, Wi-Fi, ACNN ability, 2 gigs of RAM, and this is going to have a Tegra 4 processor. So it should be really good for gaming, especially at a price point of $150. Really good for the price point, and I would definitely like to see it come to the US, but it's just a curiosity to see if they will. I think if they do good with their first Ascend Mate 2 coming to the US, then maybe they can get more traction to put an Android gaming console. The only thing I worry about is that it has the Tegra 4, it's coming in Q2, which at that point the K1 will already be out. So why wouldn't you kind of go for the future technology more than the current gen technology? Or maybe even, you know, I think $200 with the K1 with these same kind of specs would be more than worth it, in my opinion, to trump this device. But we'll see what they end up doing. Maybe I'll do what should Huawei do in 2014. Motorola G is now officially available online on Verizon's website, priced at $99. If you hadn't seen my video on this before, Motorola G is going to be priced at $99. This is a quad-core phone, 1.2 gigahertz processor, 8 gigs of storage built in, no expandable memory, but the fact that it has a really fast processor and it has Android 4.3 going to be updated to 4.4, really good for that aspect. The only thing you have to keep in mind is it's 3G phone, so that's very interesting to keep that in mind, that if you're getting this phone you will not have Verizon LTE, you will only have 3G. But for $99, I mean, you could not pay your insurance fee for Verizon anymore, and the money you save for that if a phone ever breaks could go to that phone, $99, and you're still going to be less than a deductible. So definitely something to consider if you have a smartphone. Arcos announced 3 smartwatches as well. They announced a $50 entry-level smartwatch, which is e-ink, similar to the Pebble, but this one's $50. Pretty impressive by Arcos, but when seeing it, it does feel a little flimsy. I would say, you know, the parts and quality need to step it up. And I'll talk about the other ones in a second. So that one's big thing is that it is about a week and a half worth of battery, because it's e-ink, of course. So, but that is a longer battery life than what we experience on our Pebble smartwatches. So important to note. There's a $100 model, and that one's a 1.8-inch color LCD. However, that one, of course, you will have to sacrifice battery, so that's going to be a 2-day battery life instead. And then we have the $129 one for $30 more, and this has a metal housing, so it's a bit better materials on the watch face. And that one's going to be 1.5 gigs. Now this is more of a Pebble kind of smartwatch, so it's really just notifications. You're not getting calling capability and things like that on there. But for notifications like that and media control, not bad for those purposes. And starting at $50, I mean, it definitely puts the smartwatch in the hands of a lot more consumers. The only question is will it be available in the US, and which retailers will actually carry it? I feel if retailers carry it in bulk, then we might see a lot of backing for it, but if retailers don't carry it, then it's going to be a flop, in my opinion. LG Lifeband Touch, there was a lot of fitness bands that came out at CES. I mean, I think there was over 10. It was just so many. Like Razer had one, Sony had one, all these different brands had one. LG Lifeband was probably my personal one that I would say if I were to get something like this, I would get the LG one. And the reason why is that it has a lot of onboard sensors for distance, speed, number of steps you take, so it has a pedometer, calories you burn, and screen automatically turns on when you lift it up, kind of like the gear. So that's really nice that it does that. It even tells time, which not all of these watches are doing, but for 179 it kind of seems to do the best out of them all, and it did even heart rate. This will be available in Q1, and I'm honestly thinking about reviewing this one just because I feel that because the fitness ones are becoming so big now, that maybe we need to start comparing to see which ones are the best out of them. So far this is my top candidate, but we'll see. One of the main competitors, of course, is the Sony, as well as the traditional ones like the Fitbit, Garmin, and other brands. And finally, Qualcomm did announce that their first device with Snapdragon 805 will be coming out, will arrive in May. Now this is really interesting because we don't know what the Galaxy S5 will have, and many have speculated that, well, what if it has the Snapdragon 805 processor? That is, it makes sense for that purpose. But because it's coming out in May, at least traditionally Samsung has always released their devices 11 months. So, you know, we had the S3 come out in May, we had the S4 come out in April. So having the first thing come out in May again would be about 2 months later than what traditionally Samsung would do. So I'm really curious to see how this turns out and what comes about when it comes to this processor, and what are going to be the first devices we see it in. We can expect HTC One will have their next phone out before then as well, and as well as Samsung. So does that mean that LG might be the first one to have this processor, or even Sony? Or who else would have it? Maybe Motorola. Maybe they're going to go back to making a high-end device as well, besides their mid-tier and low-end devices. It's really kind of curious to see who's going to come out with this processor, and which manufacturer do you think should be the first one? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hopefully you enjoyed all the CES coverage. Please stay tuned for all the videos that we did, and give a like, thumbs up for them, and thank you for watching. It's been RCKY, the Android Guy.